And this is the new Chevrolet Suburban 2025. It has changes that will leave you speechless. I know this is also one of the SUVs you like. It has new features both inside and outside, which are obvious, and also in terms of technology. So, the new Chevrolet Suburban 2025, up next. Let's start with the front part, which has received a mid-cycle update, as they call it. In this one, Suburban, we have a new face for the Suburban, with new geometric shapes, giving it a slightly wider feel. The gold-colored logo right there in the center with its front camera. But one of the main stories is, let me show you over here in the front headlights. The front headlights have animation, and that's important. When you approach the vehicle, it will show you an animation, and also when you move away or walk away, it will have a different animation. We have this separation, which is new, and you'll notice that it's a refreshed style. The front headlight LED technology a little lower above the daytime running light. This is no longer connected like in the previous model. And the entire bumper has also received an update in this Chevrolet Suburban. But if we continue along the side, we will find one of the most impressive new features of this model. Because for the first time on the High Country model, we're going to have huge and monstrous 24-inch rims, and look at the design of the rims. Yes, I said it right, 24 inches. It's not 20, it's 24. Which is, as I told you, one of the most notable new features for 2025. In this Chevrolet Suburban, let me know in the comments what you think about the new 24-inch rim on the Suburban. We're in the High Country model. The Country in terms of its profile hasn't changed much. Many main changes involve the light animations, which also integrate animation lighting or its sequential continuity with the mirror. In combination with the running boards or the steps, it also gives you all that animation and extends toward the rear. Regarding the rear and overall profile, little has changed. Will your Suburban be there? But speaking of the rear, there's something really interesting they've incorporated in terms of technology, which is... Do you remember the famous little kick you had to do or get really close so the rear gate would open? Well, now, simply when you come close here with the key in your pocket. And I'll show you the image of how it's done. Open Sesame. It opens automatically. You no longer have to be doing tricks with your leg and all that. Now it opens automatically for you. That seems very convenient to me. But now let's talk about the interior, where we have many of the very important changes for this mid-cycle update of the Suburban. Starting. Look, this is real leather. This is genuine leather. In that, and what is the High Country version, they assured me that this was real leather, so I could let you know. All right, let's get started. We have a new 17.7-inch infotainment dashboard, which is connected to an 11-inch instrument panel, a center or information command for the driver. This now has an orientation, or it comes presented diagonally, oriented towards the driver. And some graphics that are very intuitive is really easy to read. Since it has this orientation towards the driver, you really feel special. Here you feel like you're in total control. This is important. This is real wood. Just like we have real leather seats, this is real grained wood. And now it has a functionality. It now works as a platform, so if you rest your hand here, most vehicles have this as a flat surface. If you rest your hand, let's say it's like an extra armrest. It acts as a platform, a small table for operating controls. These are small details that this Suburban 2025 has. Another thing you'll notice is something that caught my attention at first. It's that this seemed like they had raised it higher. Here where the Girard display is, not the actual projection of the information on the windshield, but it's not actually bigger itself. It hasn't changed much. What has changed is that they've lowered the whole dashboard, this entire platform, a bit, to give that perception of more spaciousness, of more space. Notice it well, more space. Besides this table where the real wood is, those are the main changes. And the steering that the Super Cruise system has is very important. A Super Cruise system that has been improved. The steering is also a bit sportier for the 2025 Suburban. The rest of the console stays the same, including wireless cell phone charging. The climate control buttons are right here, very accessible. You have this space, This can be moved, since this is a pre-production unit. I can't adjust the buttons much, but I'll show supporting images so you can see how everything works. But this console moves automatically to create a bit more space. And this additional compartment? Here, kind of secret. So, what do you think you could put in there? Do you still have that? The second and third row part doesn't change, the space itself doesn't change. What changes are the safety features that have been incorporated as standard? Pedestrian alerts, collision alerts, the sensors, let's say, around all those sensors, have they been made available or have they been installed as standard in some models for the Suburban 2025? But those are the main changes in terms of the dashboards, infotainment dashboards, the cluster, also in the steering and this platform. To sum up the main changes of this Suburban 2025. And if you're enjoying this video, I ask you to give me a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I also welcome you. You can write there, I also subscribed. How have you liked the Chevrolet Suburban? Comment and welcome to the Freddy Car Power 360 community. Let's take a look at the engine, because here we also have a big part of the interesting history of this Chevrolet Suburban. Here it is, it always gets stuck here a little bit. Subtitles, The Org. The new 2025 Suburban story mainly focuses on the engine, but not the V8S. The 5.3-liter V8 and the 6.2-liter V8 remain the same in this mid-cycle update. What changes is the diesel, which many people ask me about. Well, the 3.0-liter turbo diesel is now available for the Suburban in some of its versions, and it has 10% more power. And that power translates into horsepower. We're talking about having 305 horsepower and 495 pound-feet of torque. So you have a little more power in your Duramax turbo diesel for the 2025 Suburban. Now I'm talking about the 2025 Suburban, which will go into production starting at the end of 2024. But the one I'm in right now is the Suburban, which is the one that will become outdated. I mean, the previous generation. Well, no, not the previous generation, because it's not a generational change, but rather a mid-cycle update. But I want to show you, for example, the dashboard area, how it has changed, or how the 2025 model will be changed so you can see that reference. This dashboard, this whole platform, is much higher than the one we saw, which they lowered a bit more to give that sense of spaciousness. Check out the infotainment dashboard, how different it is for this version of the Suburban. So this way I can give you a reference of how the old Suburban looks, or will look, and the 2025 Suburban from the presentation I'm talking about. What has changed with the suspension? Well, this remains the same. So the good news is that the magnetic adaptive suspension is back, both for the Suburban and for the Chevrolet Tahoe. Chevrolet wants us to emphasize the addition of new technology in the SUV. And it's the remote app or remote operation which allows you to see what's happening inside the vehicle or even around the vehicle. Kind of like those security cameras that are installed in houses. If they detect any kind of movement, they send you an alert. Then you can see through the image what's happening. Well, it's something similar, and that allows you to remotely monitor what's happening inside the vehicle and outside of it. Both the Tahoe and the Suburban 2025 have this available. Also, for both SUVs, there's this feature related to the rear gate, which is really nice. You no longer need to give it a kick. When you arrive, just get close, even if your hands are full from grocery shopping. Well, simply by getting close enough. The sensor detects the key, which you can have in your pocket, and that rear gate opens for you. I found this pretty convenient. What? The Suburban's rear has been updated with new, more stylish taillights that look great and seem brighter. Towing capacity stays at 8,200 pounds. What happens now is that it has some different features, some towing capacity features. In terms of technology like camera angles and ease of use, the features that help you tow are a bit more sophisticated and work better. We've reached the end. What did you think? Rated from 1 to 10 for this new Suburban 2025, which will go into production at the end of 2024 and arrive as a 2025 model from 1 to 10. What rating would you give it now? I'll read your comments there. Subtitled.